Welcome to the magical journey beyond mediocrity, where the mystical and the practical become aligned. You're listening to Meant for More, the Seeker's Guide to Success, with your host, Seeker's Guide and coach, Kristen Lloyd. Kristen guides you through mindset shifts to increase your consciousness and live your best life. So let's leave mediocrity behind and step into your magical, magnificent life with Kristen.
Welcome back, everyone, to Meant for More, the Seeker's Guide to Success. I am your host and Seeker's Guide, Kristen Lloyd. Thank you so much for tuning in today for today's show. Today we have an amazing special guest, Laura Hosford, and she will be doing some mini intuitive readings for you guys today. And I'm so excited that we are now accepting call-ins. So if you would like to jump on and get a mini intuitive reading from Laura, the number is 248-629-0921. Or if you are listening to this via your computer at boldradiostation.com, please submit your question with your name and city into the chat box, and we will get that mini intuitive reading on live on air for you. This is episode 21 of the Meant for More show, and once again, I'm so excited to have Laura here. Laura Hosford is an inspiring global visionary light leader for world peace, teacher, mystic, multi-sensory intuitive healer, divine channel, and humanitarian. As a master Akashic guide and soul light seer, she guides visionary entrepreneurs to create their dream life of magic, miracles, and love through living their highest destiny of soul life expression and mastery. She created the Light Leaders Academy in 2014, a heart-centered fifth-dimensional online global community and light mastery school to guide and support emerging new leaders to embrace and live their highest destiny on the new fifth-dimensional earth. Thank you, Laura, for being here.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm so excited for having me on the show. I'm very honored to be here today and to share a little bit about what I do as a global visionary light leader and a master Akashic guide, which is really to use my divine gifts of channeling and teaching to guide other intuitive visionaries and encourage them to really step fully into their light mastery and to be able to start to live their greatest soul's destiny on the new earth now. So thank you.
I'm honored to have you here. It's so exciting. I'm so glad that you said yes.
I'm glad I said yes too.
The first question that I always ask my guests are, how did you get to where you are? How did you your journey to more? And as a light leader, people interpret the word more in many different ways. And clearly, more in this case means ascension and awakening. So I would love for you to tell us your journey, your story to how you came upon this path to where you are now.
Okay, sure. I'd love to share more about my personal healing story. I mean, really for me, growing up here in the Deep South that I love so much, it really started for me, I think, when I was probably about 12 years old. And so church was very much a part of our life. And I always loved going to church and was there and very involved. And I remember walking home one day from church when I was around 12. And I thought to myself, I go to church and I learn about love and I learn about all of these concepts. However, inside of me, I really didn't feel love all the time. And so I was kind of at this place of where I started to ask these deeper questions about why did I feel such conflict and chaos in my own life and even in my home life? And why did I not have inner peace? And so that was just a really big question I had in my mind. And I think that really is what launched me onto this ascension path many years ago. So I went on with my life like any other, American does, and grew up went to college, got married, have a beautiful daughter, went on to have a very successful career working in corporate healthcare leadership positions for many years. And just went all out. My life, I lived it with lots of passion, lots of gusto, pouring everything I had into whatever I was doing. And I always had this principle that I was always here in some capacity for God. However, I was still plagued with this inner conflict inside of me. I had a lot of fear inside of me. I had a lot of pain. At times I was experiencing confusion. And it just kept nagging at me, I guess, if you will. And so around 2006, I came to this really first low point in my life where I just really found myself very exhausted. And I look back on my life and I was like, wow, I've poured myself into taking care of my family, who I love very much, and just pouring everything out. However, really realizing that I was exhausted, I was depressed, and that my life had to change. I couldn't go on the way that it was. So I started to get involved with some yoga and some Tai Chi, which did help, and started to get me basically back in touch with my own body, because I realized that even though I was a very active person, and physically, I was somehow still living. I started to realize I was living more out of my mental body than anything else. And so that kind of started me on the path. And then, so I started to realize I needed to really do more self-care, which is a positive direction, right? And then in March of 2008, I hit probably the lowest point, and I lost a major job of 10 years. And so this was a pretty devastating blow for me in my life. And I went into a period that I really call the dark night of the soul. You may have heard of that before.
Yeah.
And it really started that journey in that summer. And I spent the whole summer, just really asking a lot of those deeper questions again, really asking God about, well, what does this all mean? I don't really understand, which direction am I to go through or go in? So later that summer, I was invited to attend a new weekly meditation group with a yoga friend of mine. And at that meditation group, I found out about a life coaching school called LifeWorks School of Coaching that's here in Atlanta. So I found myself being very drawn to that, and the idea of coaching was very appealing to me, because being in leadership positions in my healthcare world, I felt like I had some capacity, to do that very naturally. It was one of my natural gifts. So I started the LifeWorks Coaching School and did that in 2009 and finished in July. However, I had started to do my inner work at that point. I had started to work on my emotional healing, my mental healing, and starting to really look at those unhealthy patterns that basically I had been living with since I was a child. And really not realizing that in my marriage, I had married my mother and my father, in a sense, when I married my ex-husband. And so there was very unhealthy patterns of some control dynamics, the victimization patterns, the codependence patterns, and a lot of heavy emotional type of abuse going on. And I knew inside that couldn't continue either, that I needed to make some major changes if that relationship was going to continue on. So in September of 2009, I decided to separate from my husband, my ex-husband, and I moved in with a friend, and I left my marriage of 30 years. I left behind my dream lifestyle of 15 years, because at the time 15 years earlier, we had built our beautiful dream home on a 30-acre lake and had worked very hard to bring that dream into manifestation. And here I was making this major life decision to leave basically everything behind, leaping totally into the unknown future with no job. I had no job. I had no idea. I had just packed my car up with my stuff and really didn't know, where I was going. I just knew deep inside that there was this calling deep inside of me, and I didn't have an understanding of everything, and I didn't know all the details. I just knew in that moment it was the right thing for me to do. So as my journey continued forward over the next 5 years, through my kind of dark night of the soul period, I call it, I would change jobs like 3 times, and I would actually move 4 times. But it was all part of the path. I was kind of on this kind of fast track, right, to my spiritual healing journey.
Right.
And, I will say that I was totally supported along the way. I mean, there were employers that were involved with giving me jobs, helping me out, who were totally unconscious as to my spiritual journey. They didn't know anything about that. However, from the bigger plan of my soul, it was all part of my path to completely balance my karma from previous lifetimes, which is really what that was about, and to really heal my mental and emotional body so I could be prepared for my ascension journey into the 5th dimension. So everything was being fully divinely guided during that entire time. Even though I didn't always have the full understanding of it, I was just in a place of trust. And then along the way, I found a wonderful, amazing energy healer. Her name is Carolyn Jones, and she and I are very close friends now. And she helped me to really hold that space for me. She began to reflect back to me my true self. And she helped me as I struggled to regain my own truth and to really regain my lost identity, that really I was an intuitive healer and a spiritual teacher, but I was really not in touch with those gifts for over, 50 years of my life, because I was living so much in that conditioned box of those, childhood patterns that kept me there so much. And so that was a great turning point for me. Carolyn became a role model for me and helped me to really regain that faith in myself and begin to really build my self-esteem and my self-worth again, which is so important when you're an intuitive out there. And I'm really deeply grateful for her leadership and guidance, and to other wonderful teachers and people who've been there for me. And I think that what I'm trying to say is that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, just know that the universe is always supporting you, in sometimes ways that we don't see or understand, but that divine love is guiding us, right? Is always guiding us forward, and is always there as our safety net, and can show up in lots of different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you talk about trust, because one of the things that I see in a lot of the people that I work with is that they start trusting and then they get off the path, not intentionally, but again, something like what you had said, that you recognized you were living more in your mind than anywhere else, like more in your mind than in your soul or in your heart. And that shifted. What tips, if any, do you have for somebody who wants to trust, who wants to step into trust, but they have that fear there? And as an intuitive, maybe that was part of your knowing, that you just knew and then trusted. But, for people who are trying to also do that, and I know trust is an action in and of itself, but what baby step do you think you might give someone who's wanting to trust, wanting to step into trust, but struggling with that?
Absolutely. Great question. The first thing that I would recommend is for you to keep what I call a freedom journal. So what that is basically just carving out some time every day. And it's so important that we do this to really start to connect with our inner intuition, our inner soul wisdom and guidance that's just really waiting for us. It's waiting for us to ask, to guide us and to help us. And because our divine creator gave us free will, we do have to ask. And so what I'm saying is that just really carving out, 15, 20 minutes a day, just sitting in silence, getting really quiet and still, maybe going outside in nature to a beautiful spot that you love, or sitting by a lake or a river or wherever it is that you feel at peace, and start to really connect in and just start to set the intention to connect with your own intuitive voice, because it's our intuitive voice that really is going to lead us the way to help us to really start to develop that trust. We have to develop that trust within ourselves first. And once we can start to heal and mend our heart, because trusting ourselves is really about opening our hearts up and beginning to become vulnerable again. Because without that, you won't be able to have a healthy trust relationship with yourself or be able to trust others. So it's actually about becoming a little vulnerable first, but you don't have to, take huge leaps to do that. You can just do that with yourself and begin to just keep a journal of what are my thoughts, what's going on inside of me. Where are some areas that I don't feel like I trust myself? And just be really open and honest with yourself. And the journal is a great way to start, because you can start as you write down the words, and don't even think about what you're writing. Just take a few minutes to just write everything down. Something like a brain dump, where you just write it all down, and you just do that every day. And then go back a few days after and start to just see what you're writing down, and start to just notice some of the thoughts that you're having. And are those thoughts positive, or are those thoughts critical? Are those thoughts self-sabotaging? All of those kinds of things will start to point you in the right direction on the journey to start to build a great relationship with your own intuitive guidance and begin to trust it again. And that is so vital now, particularly in our future as we move forward, because as we continue to expand our state of consciousness, right, we will begin to reach out more into our universe, in a sense, and begin to connect with the bigger picture of our life. And as we do that, then our linear way of living is not going to be so prominent anymore. We'll be living a more nonlinear type of life. And our intuition there, our soul, our divine wisdom are there to guide us through that, because we'll have many opportunities and many possibilities come our way. But how are you going to choose which one is best for you? Because not all of them are going to be maybe in alignment with you, with your values, what is your heart's desires, right? Because it's so important to really pay attention to our heart's desires, because those desires were put there by God, by the universe, by source, by the higher power, or whatever your term is that you refer to.
Right.
And so, yeah, we have this tremendous opportunity now right here. This huge door is wide open for us now to really take our lives and to really expand way beyond the limited boxes we put ourselves into. But it is going to take a relationship of trust. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, to begin to take, just take baby steps and find people who are aligned with you, whether it's a meditation group or if it's a spiritual teacher or a coach, but really begin to connect with people who have the same goal that you do, who want to build up their intuition and trust that.
So if somebody comes back in, we'll welcome them. The next question I wanted to ask you was about your intuitive gifts. When did you realize that you had these intuitive gifts to share? I know that you had talked about your journey, but was that in the midst of this soul awakening process that you came across? Was it when you recognized that your husband was your parents, or was there another trigger that you recognized you had these intuitive gifts? Oh, we have our caller, so I'll save that question, hold that question for later, and we'll let our caller get a reading from you. Welcome. So, okay, what were your when did you realize that you have if they jump back on, we'll absolutely welcome them and continue these questions after. When did you recognize that?
Well, I recognized at some level, I think that I knew I had good instincts, maybe was the word that I would call it, maybe not necessarily intuition. Most of my life, I recognized there was like a sharpness or a focus, if you will, or good gut instincts that I did tap into throughout my life, and actually helped me quite a lot in my my corporate work as well. But I think I really didn't realize that I had intuitive gifts, or gifts of the spirit, some people call it, until actually I started to go to the life coaching school. And it was the life coaching school that I went to was steeped in very esoteric and metaphysical concepts. And that was one of the reasons that I was drawn to it. Also during that period, I actually did attend some psychic classes and some mediumship classes as well. And that's when I really started to dawn on me, oh, wow, I really didn't realize that I had these gifts and that these gifts were really there. But then people started to reflect that back to me, and they were like, Laura, do you realize that, you're very intuitive? And I'm like, oh, wow. But it did take me a while to really, I guess, start to own it.
When you went to the coaching school, so they had classes in mediumship and like the intuitive voice and things like that?
That actually was a separate course that I was going to at the same time. So
not at the LifeWorks coaching school, though.
Right.
Somewhere.
It was not at the LifeWorks. Yeah, it was another school here in Atlanta that I was attending. So I kind of was really going all out, I guess, and really searching to really find that within myself and to really find, is this really true? During my entire inner growth process. Because for me, I have a very strong left brain, if you will, which served me very, very well, again, in my corporate roles, because I was in the financial sector. So I was very analytical, driven, and a very detail driven person. So, and required those strong analytical and critical thinking skills.
Right.
And I remember that when I went to even start to learn to meditate, and I actually was a member of the ARE community for a long time, and I had ordered some tapes on how to meditate. And for about a year, I tried to teach myself how to meditate, and I really was never successful. And then I started to do some yoga and Tai Chi practice, and they taught me a really cool technique, bringing in the physical with your hands. And once I started to do that, I was able to start to finally calm my monkey mind down, right? And begin to start to be still inside and learn to meditate. Because as a child, I didn't realize also for most of my life that I had a lot of rapid thoughts going on, if you will.
Right.
So it was very difficult. And I was very fortunate that, with one of the spiritual teachers I worked with, he was able to really help me to really remove some of those deep inner core beliefs that I was carrying around for me for a long time. And there was two in particular. There was one belief, I'm a bad person, was one of the tapes running in my head for a long, long time. And the other
That's
one was
so difficult to believe, because I know you, I've met you in person, and you are like one of the sweetest people I've ever met. And so the idea that you're a bad person, and I get that that was the tape playing in your head, but just from an outside perspective, it just seems so absurd, right?
It does. And the other tape I will share I had was I was not good enough. And these tapes kept me in a very small box. And I was living out of, my critical mind, my lower self. And my whole outer life reflected this, because I always was very driven to try to be perfect, the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect leader at work. And, what was happening was that I didn't feel loved inside of me. So I was looking for all that approval, outside of me, that so many of us do, not realizing that real love is not based on any outer conditions, that it's all an inside job.
Right.
But I lived that way for so many years, which, led to me burning out. But, I have completely transformed, my inner world from one of living in conflict, in chaos, in pain. I even had one of my roommates say to me one time, she goes, "Oh my God, you're just suffering so much." It was like I was afflicted or something inside of me. And especially with all the thoughts and the thought forms that I had, that had developed throughout my life. And my mom actually suffers from a mild form of schizophrenia, which is rapid thoughts. And so, we know now, if you study quantum science, that how much the impact of the environment is on you, right? We know that especially when we're children, we're just soaking up. We're just like a sponge. And especially when you're empathic, and I'm very empathic and sensitive. And so, I was just a little sponge soaking up, all the things that were going on in the house, the chaos, the confusion, the doubt, the anger that was going on. And it was very chaotic. And so I know now, though, the bigger picture. I understand the bigger purpose of that was not punishment. It wasn't a punishment on me or anything like that. And I love my parents dearly, and I'm very grateful for them and for my whole life and experience. It was simply to help me to really be able to go through those experiences, so that then when I'm counseling and coaching and working with people and helping them to transform their life, I can say, I have walked this talk. I may not be in your shoes in the sense I can't get into your shoes. No one can, but I can certainly understand your pain. I can certainly understand your conflict.
Right.
I can understand all of that because I lived through that, and I've completely transformed my life. I wake up every day with total inner peace. And I can say that with integrity and honesty, that no matter what's going out there in the world, I'm carrying inner peace within me now, within my heart. And I learned to love myself first. I've repaired my own self-esteem. And so I've basically turned my life around 360 degrees. So if I can do that, and then anyone can do that. And I'm here to show people and to really inspire them. And inspire is a key word for me, because I think it takes perseverance to walk the path of this journey. But I want people to I want them to know that you will be supported 100% in ways that you can't even know. In some ways you may never know, but once you make the choice, and it is a free will choice that we have, once you make that choice to start forward on your path, you will be so divinely inspired and guided. Right. And so I think that's part of my bigger mission and purpose, is to deliver that message to the world, because I now have that inner spiritual freedom, I call it. And that is where your abundance lies. That's your joy and your happiness, that no matter what's going on in the world, it doesn't matter if a war is going on right outside of your bedroom. I can carry inside of me, and no one can ever take that away from me, that inner peace, that love that I have for all of myself and for humanity. And so I think that's a really important message that I want to share with people today, that you can. And it's just interesting. I'll share with you, when I was in life coaching school, we did some really cool things, and we would do a lot of not coloring, but we're kind of like coloring, working with our emotions, right, to heal our emotions. And we did this really cool activity one day and about our emotions. And I literally drew, Kristen, I literally drew this box. And I drew myself sitting in this box. And I literally had this ball and chain on my left ankle. And then there was a corner of the box, the top of the box. It was open just a little bit, like a crack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just enough for my hand to reach through that crack. And I was reaching up to a point of light shining up from high above. But around the box, it was total chaos and darkness and confusion. And I remember that now. I keep that in my mind because it's like, I don't live in that world anymore. I cut those chains and I busted out of that box. And I'm in the light now. And I want other people to know they can do it too. They can really, truly change their lives and experience that.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was about your biggest challenges regarding bringing your gifts out into service. But it feels like you've already kind of discussed that, like how you saw yourself in this box with these chains on, and that you had so many internal barriers to overcome in terms of loving yourself first and being one with yourself, knowing that you were supported. Oh, we have somebody who's coming on. So,
Great.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey. Please
How are
introduce
you?
yourself and then feel free to ask Laura a question.
Hey, Laura. Hey, Kristen. My name's Maritza. Been listening in on this morning, and I just, I guess my question is, after listening to you, Laura, is I'm in a place of transition right now, and it was interesting to me to hear you say, write down and, with the free will and still having to kind of push forward in that aspect. So I was just trying to get some insight on my direction right now.
Okay. And where are you calling in from, Martha?
It's Maritza. I'm calling in from Florida.
From Florida. Okay. And say your name one more time for me again.
Maritza.
Marissa. Oh, that's a beautiful name. Okay. Hi, Marissa. Thank you for calling in today. So just tapping into your Akashic records, Marissa, we have what we call masters and teachers that are with us, that have been with us since our soul's inception. And so what they're saying is that right now for you is to keep working on opening your heart and to keep loving yourself forward and to just keep being open. It's not about pushing at all. That's not the energy that you want to go into. What you want to do is you just want to be really gentle with yourself and really just open your heart space to allow. So the key word there is to really allow and to open to receive more love for you is the key to your healing. And as you do that, you'll be guided forward on your journey. So the journaling is great. It's great to start to look at, well, where is it in my life that I'm not loving myself completely without judgment, right? And start to just get in touch with that and then start to connect in with your higher self, okay, your higher self and your soul, whatever word you want to use are fine. It's just about connecting and opening to the energy of divine love and allowing that to come through. And when you give that permission for that to happen, that's all you have to do. The healing starts in your heart, sweetie.
Okay, perfect.
Is that helpful?
Good. It does. Yes, it actually does. It actually is. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for calling in.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. That was awesome.
That was awesome. Yay. And I love it. That's great. It just fills my heart with such joy, Kristen. You just can't imagine. I'm just about to tear up because it just for so long I couldn't really use my gifts. It seemed like it was just really difficult for me. And even though I would hear, "Oh, you're very intuitive, Laura," I'm like, I know, but I don't feel so connected enough yet, I guess is the word. But
and we have another listener. Welcome. Okay. Please introduce yourself, give your name and your location, and ask Laura a question.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Laura, can you hear her?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Laura. How are you? So my name is Gina, and right now I'm sitting in my office in Pompano Beach. It's pouring down rain outside, and it's miserable. I should be in my bed.
Oh.
My friend Maritza had actually given me the phone number to call in, and so ask you a question. I don't know. I have so many questions.
What comes to mind, Gina? Just the first thing that maybe is most pressing, or something that you've been really wanting to know for a while. And Laura will go into your Akashic records, and she's amazing at this.
Marriage. So. Marriage. That has been, and that's what made me call in today after having a conversation with my boyfriend yesterday of 2.5 years. It definitely brought some things about marriage up. So, yeah, that's the issue. It's pressing.
Okay. And what is your boyfriend's name?
Jordan.
Okay. So just going into your Akashic records now. So it looks like there's really a true desire there on both of your parts to really be in a more, to be in a relationship in that committed way that marriage, brings, like union, right? It seems that really is a truth for you, for both of you, to really work through any issues that you have right now to bring that about. I sense that he has that true desire too, although sometimes I'm getting the feeling that you have some issues around it, but you're not really sure what steps to take to work through some of those. I don't feel there's any major issues. They're just more like minor communication issues, perhaps. So have you thought about taking any steps to maybe get some outside help with a coach or a counselor?
Well, here's the thing: is he is not very good at communicating. He completely shuts down when we discuss it. He tells me, I've asked him in the past, "Do you see us getting married?" And he says yes, but he's not ready for it. And that's it. He'll let me know when he's ready. There's nothing more to say, and if I say anything else, it leads to an argument. Again, we've been together 2.5 years, living together, and almost as a married couple, pretty much. We don't make a decision without each other, and he needs to grow up. He's 38 years old, never been married, no children, very immature in that regard. Mm-hmm. Wonderful man, brilliant in business, but when it comes to marriage, it scares the crap out of him, and I don't know if it's me or if it's him and his own fears. I'm getting to the point to where I'm starting to resent the relationship for it because I feel like I can never move forward with him.
Right. It's not you. It's more of him in his own internal challenges. He has a lot of fear about making a commitment. However, that's coming in from some of his own conditioned patterns and beliefs that he has. That he, if he were able to be willing to work through some of those, get some help to work through some of those, then he could certainly overcome those and be able to open up his channels of communication. But that's exactly what it is. It's communication first internally within himself that needs to be opened, and including moving out of so much fear base and moving into more love and living from that place. Because he is a very beautiful soul, and you see that, but I can certainly understand your frustration. And what you can do is and this is not easy to do, I understand, but if you give him more space around the relationship. Now, when I say give more space to the relationship, is you just kind of kind of back away from the idea of the marriage thing, even though I know you want that in your heart of hearts. I understand and feel that for you. But it's almost like we have to do the opposite. We almost have to literally see yourself backing away from him in a sense in your mind's eye and giving him more space and love and compassion. If you can do that, if you can send him more love and compassion and give him more space, it may be enough to create an opening that he'll take that first step and say, oh, okay, well, maybe there's some things I need to look at within me. And then that could be just enough to open up the pathway for him to start to move forward again with really starting to do a little bit of inner work, because that's really what it's going to take for him. If he really wants to be in a relationship with you or anyone else, and for that relationship to be based on love, then that's what's going to be required.
Yeah.
Can I add something? Gina, when I hear Laura say give him space, I don't think it means physical space. I think it means energetic space.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I got it. It's, like I said, after 2.5 years, he's, shit or get off the pot is kind of how I feel at this point. I've given him that, I've backed up. Things have been amazing, I just, like I said, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to resent him for it. It's like, okay, grow up already, and I can only I've given him more love than I think anybody ever has in his life. I'm a very loving, warm, I'm Italian, like enough said. I think I'm a very loving, warm person,
awesome.
But,
love yourself. Love yourself more also around that. So if I know you're feeling that.
I'm starting to say, okay, you know what? It's time to do me. Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you, Gina, for calling in.
Thank you for the clarity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sending you love and blessings. Thank you.
So these are awesome. These are amazing. I love the clarity. I love the, it just fills my heart too. I know that that's what you were saying before Gina jumped on. Maria called in. She's in Florida. She says, I'm in a place in my life where I have been going through a few new beginnings and just unfolding the positive changes in my life. And I guess I wanted to get some reaffirmation that I am indeed on the right path. So, Laura, this is Maria in Florida who is looking for a reading. She typed in.
Okay. All right, Maria. So we'll just go ahead now and go into your Akashic records. So just tuning in to your Akashic records. Yes, you're absolutely on the right path, dear. You're being divinely guided every step of the way. I see a beautiful path ahead for you. It's like right now you feel kind of like you're walking through the woods. And sometimes things may seem a little, overwhelming for you. Things may seem a little chaotic sometimes, or just a feeling of not sure. I'm not sure yet. And a little bit of self-doubt coming in. That's all natural and normal. You just want to keep asking to connect with your divine soul and your higher self to continue to lead you forward. And just make that almost like into a daily affirmation every day. I can't really suggest that more. It's just such a beautiful thing. And you're being led, though, to a beautiful, beautiful pasture. I can see that, a beautiful, vivid colors. Green pasture, almost like the golden yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz. And you're on this pathway. And I see a beautiful sun in front of you and lots of flowers. So right now, you're in this place of growth on your path, on your journey of inner spiritual growth. So you just keep moving forward one step at a time, loving yourself one step at a time on the path. No forcing energy, no have to, or I should, or I feel obligated to energies. You want to work with the divine feminine energies that are now here on the planet for you. And those energies are all about love and being flexible, receiving, being very gentle with yourself, connecting in with your intuition. And yes, so you're really, and now they're showing me like a beautiful peacock. I'm not sure why, but what that may mean to you. You can ask your higher self, but they're showing me like a beautiful peacock in full array. So perhaps that means that your world is coming into a lot more deeper meaning and joy with all these full range of the colors of the peacock. But you have a lot of beautiful, good things coming to you ahead of you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to, I don't think we have anybody else waiting, but I wanted to ask, just to kind of get more information about the Light Leaders Academy and what you do with your clients. I mean, obviously you do the Akashic records and the intuitive readings, but in what ways are you guiding people to create their dream life of magic, miracles, and love, living their highest destiny? You have such an amazing background, so I'm sure that you pull in all of these gifts to do that. But do you have your own process or path, or do you let the divine guide you when you work with your clients?
That's a great question. Thank you. So what I do when I'm doing Akashic record readings, of course, I'm working with that person's highest truth, because our Akashic records are unique. They contain our unique truth. And when I say that, what I mean is that they have been with us since the beginning of our soul's inception through the wisdom of our creator, our divine creator. This was a way to kind of categorize. You know, we say that we kind of look at them like a library of all our collection of all of our lifetimes of our soul's journey and experiences. And so it captures through our Akashic records, everything we've ever thought, we've said, we've created, all of our emotions and feelings. So everything is there for us. And so this is just a wealth. Like, I like to think of it like a treasure chest, because it's a wealth of divine knowledge that's there for you. So when I'm given an Akashic record reading, what I do is through the use of a prayer, we use a prayer because a prayer sets the intention and helps us to raise our personal vibration, which is a key to unlock into our Akashic records. And so I go into the records, and within the records, I give people clarity. I give them knowledge about their soul purpose, divine guidance, their health, really anything they want to ask about. And just going and entering into the Akashic records, because we are going into a higher dimension of consciousness, we're connecting in at a higher vibration, is very healing. So that's very healing in and of itself, because we're raising your personal vibration up into the level of love or higher. I also do other intuitive work. It's called an IST process, and that is more about taking you through and looking at any aspects or personas we call that are living with those kind of limiting patterns I was talking about earlier, those limiting beliefs, living from our ego mind or our lower self. And so what we do is I help you to integrate those energetically to bring you back into alignment with your higher true nature. I also blend that with my Akashic record work as well. So it's a very powerful session. These are advanced session work, so I don't normally do them for people who've just awakened, but I will do them with people who are, have been on the path and have done some inner work.
That's awesome. We just have another caller that jumped on.
Okay.
So, hello, please introduce yourself and ask Laura a question.
I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe. Welcome. Where are you calling from?
Hey. Jupiter, Florida.
Wow. Today, Florida's really hot today.
Oh, it's like Africa here.
What is your question?
I was just listening, so my question: what kind of questions can I ask?
You can ask anything you want, pretty much, that are G-rated.
Well, I have an expected child coming. Can you say anything about that?
Expected child coming. Wonderful. Okay. And you live in Jupiter, Florida. Okay. So Joe. And what is your full name?
Joe Kelly.
Okay, Joe Kelly. Okay.
Joseph Kelly III.
Oh, wonderful, beautiful name, Joseph Kelly. Okay. So just tuning into your records, into the records for Joseph. So yeah, this child is very excited to come in and join with you. Very excited. I sense that it may be a boy that's coming in.
It is.
It is a boy. Okay, coming in, yeah. And it seems that he's telling me, he's communicating with me. Let me see. That he's been with you in a previous lifetime before. You had a very, very close relationship as a father and son in a previous lifetime. You used to like to go fishing a lot, they're showing me, down by the river. Just a very sweet and gentle soul. And yeah, this was all just preordained before, for you to bring him in and in this lifetime. And let me see if there's anything else he wants to. He says, I love my dad so much already. And so just really know that he can hear you, that he's communicating with you already. And so you can begin to do, through really telepathy, you can go ahead and begin to communicate with him and continue that relationship on.
Awesome.
He's a very highly evolved soul. Yeah, and he's coming in to do a lot of great work here on the earth. And so you will be able to nourish him, energetically in your home. You'll be able to provide an environment that these new children coming in, they need, because they're coming in with that higher vibration. So you're going to be able to hold that vibrational space for him. That's really important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did that help answer your question?
What's that?
Did that answer your question? That was so awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you for calling in today.
Yep, sending you blessings. You're welcome.
And congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's
awesome. Yeah, that is beautiful. Love that.
So before we go, I want you to tell us a little bit more about the Light Leader, your vision for the Light Leaders Academy, its mission and purpose to serve the world. And then also, tell us about that. And then also, where can people reach you? I'm kind of packing everything together just in case.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yes, so I was really gifted. This vision of the Light Leaders Academy came to me in January 2014. And its purpose is really, it's a community, right? Right now it's an online community, a heart-centered community, in working together, and together we're aligned in unity and harmony and compassion, and we support each other's greatest soul expression of truth. We recognize that we're all individual co-creators with Source, and we acknowledge our true divine nature as love, right? And that we're here to experience love, okay? And we will be doing that by actually bringing together, merging our divine higher self, our soul, with our human self, and really creating this new ascended being now on the earth. So I kind of have this acronym that I call Living the Principles of Light. And so it's about embracing our inner light for our greatest soul expression, following our own intuition and soul guidance system, living from divine grace with heart-centered compassion for others as one unified community, merging with our higher self. We open and live as the channel for our highest truth, love, and light to shine through us, in expressing our own unique truth, our unique gifts along the way that we all have to share, to support each other. So my biggest vision right now is really to expand the Light Leaders Academy into an online school of mastery for visionaries who want to live from their highest destiny and soul light expression in this lifetime. So this path means, and it's really the ascension path, evolving your personal state of consciousness to live from your true nature of unconditional love, compassion, unity, and respect for all of life, which really is the Christ consciousness. So we're here to embrace the Christ consciousness And that is both the divine feminine and the divine masculine together, and balance those energies and fully embody those energies within us to bring them into the earth and anchor them in and become responsible, conscious co-creators with these new creation energies, and bringing these energies of heaven now through us and building a new earth where all of life is living its true nature of love. So really, I feel like in my heart of hearts, this is a divine mission that was given to me from the heart of God. And my primary role was to bring in these higher principles of love and light from the higher dimensions, and to teach these concepts to support this movement. So I'm very devoted to the Divine Mother and the Divine Feminine Christ movement, now sweeping the planet. And I work with those divine feminine energies. Right now, I'm working on, I created a new class that I really, really love. It's about how to create your dream life, how to manifest your dream life. And it's all about helping people to connect in with their divine inner child and to really to experience the wonder of life. I believe we've forgotten this in our society. And so I want to remind people to come, even if for a few hours, to experience the wonder of their inner divine child and to start to see and connect with their own internal master creator self, because they have that power, right? They have that power we've talked about today. I'm also developing my first online class, and it will be hopefully launched the end of September, 1st of October. It's called Master Your Ascension Process with the Akashic Records. So I'm very excited about that. I also have a new ebook coming out in the next 2 weeks. It will be a free ebook you can download when you go to my website. It's called 3 Golden Keys to Unlock Your Higher Divine Guidance System. And I will be also doing an Akashic Adventures Freedom Tour 2016 from August 19th to 27th. You can check my Facebook page. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. And I'll be shooting live videos and doing Akashic record readings on sacred sites as I travel across the United States by train. So again, you can reach me at my website, which is laurahosford.com. And yeah, so looking forward to sharing more about the light leaders and expanding the growth for the light leaders as we move forward.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and if someone is looking to book a session with you, they can find information on laurahosford.com or find you at the Light Leaders Academy on Facebook. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And then I've tagged you on Twitter. You're TJ Hart 55, right?
That is correct, yes.
Yay.
Thank you. Yay, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm so glad we've sadly run out of time. This has gone so quickly, and I'm so blessed and incredibly grateful that you have come on and that you've shared your gifts with us today and that we got to know you a little bit better. And I really hope that everybody is able to grab a copy of your ebook that's coming out soon and follow you on Facebook, connect with you on your website.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm so honored to be here today and so grateful in my heart for allowing me to share this message. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day to you and all of our listeners.
Thank you, my dear. And thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been another great show. To continue the conversation, hop on over to the Seekers group on Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/The Seekers Path. Also, to grab your very own free Seekers Guide workbook, head on over to KristenLloyd.com and click on free gifts. Until next time, you are meant for more. Keep seeking.
Thanks for tuning in to Meant for More, the Seeker's Guide to Success. But the fun doesn't end here. Head over to KristenLloyd.com for your Seeker's Guide workbook filled with exercises to help you go from mediocre to magically magnificent.